Here we go. What's up, people? What's up, people? You are tuned into the Feelings First Facts Later podcast. And if this isn't your first time here, welcome back. But if this is your first time, I go by the name Nathan Mitchell, and I'm doing this with Cristina.
Hey.
And we are here to talk shit today.
Oh, okay.
You ready?
Sure.
This is going to be more of a fun freestyle episode. So, yeah. So for all you people out there that have been listening and have been getting little fun facts on how to keep your relationship alive or how to avoid relationships or whatever, this ain't that kind of episode.
Okay.
You're not going to really learn anything from us today other than what our typical conversations look like.
Like off the mic?
Off the mic.
Yeah.
Off the mic.
Right.
So the first one that I want to get into is... or not really the first one that I want to get into, but one of the things that I've been doing for the past couple of days is just reading little dating articles, right? And so just kind of skimming through some things just to see what the pulse is like out there and, you know, what people are talking about.
Okay.
And so I want to share a couple of those articles and then just kind of bounce some ideas off of you just to see how you're feeling about it or what your take is on it. And we can kind of just shotgun a conversation off of it.
Okay.
But one article that I read is that people, and by people, I mean men, women, and this kind of targeted all age groups, primarily people from their mid-20s to their mid-30s.
Okay.
They are stating that since COVID, right, they have found that it is harder to date.
Okay.
And out of this little survey that was taken, again, it was by a lot of people, but mainly focusing, the target group was mid-20s, mid-30s.
Okay.
63% of people were reporting that dating has been harder since COVID-19, right? Since everything has started to open back up.
Right.
Not during the pandemic, but so more recent times.
Okay.
Right? 3% has stated that it's a little bit easier for them. And then the rest of the people are saying that it's just kind of been the same. Nothing's changed for them.
Okay.
Now.
But did it say why?
So, no.
Okay.
No. And the rest of the stuff that was in the article was really flimsy.
Okay.
Like, it really didn't say much about what was harder, why it was harder.
Okay.
One of the things that I noticed that it seemed like this might make it a little bit harder for people is that some of these people were saying that they felt like they were at a point where they were kind of losing hope in the idea of dating.
Okay.
Because they obviously they probably had a hard time finding a person before.
Right. If they're still dating. Yeah.
And then during the pandemic, either they were struggling to find a partner because they were actively searching and just wasn't successful. Right. Or more than likely probably what took place was they just didn't want to pursue dating at all for whatever reason during the pandemic. Either they were being responsible or things were going on in their life.
Things were limited and restricted anyway.
Exactly. So they were just kind of laying low, which I completely understand.
Yeah.
But now here they are post-pandemic. They're trying to get their feet wet, trying to get back out there.
Yeah.
And they're finding themselves in a position where they're still not finding that they're successful with finding a partner. So they were reporting that they were in this limbo headspace of, do I really want to date? So I'm kind of doing this, but not doing this seriously.
Yeah, I could see that.
Right. Which then to me, I go, okay, well, maybe that's why dating has become harder for you or seemed to be harder for you. Because if you're already kind of going in something with this failed state of mind, if it's not just you, if it's the other person that is dating as well, and you're both kind of going in this thing where, hey, you know, I don't really care if this is what really happens. I
think people are just drained altogether, don't you think?
Right.
In general, like so much in so little time, and people were already at their wits' end.
Right.
And now it's just so many things happened in 2 years, and now trying to get back out there, it sounds depressing.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And
that everything is just so many obstacles, even still to go places and do stuff. It's still not what it was. There's still restrictions and people are still being cautious and, you don't know what you're dealing with on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
On top of shit was already hard before for people dating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounds depressing.
Right. So then if you have two people with this state of mind of,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, I don't even, I guess putting walls up. So you're putting
Right.
walls up
More
before you're even
walls.
putting yourself out there, right?
Yeah.
Not just emotional walls, but even just
All the
dating,
walls.
dating walls.
Yeah.
So if both of you are going in with this mentality
Yeah.
of, well, I've been failing this entire time, so it is what it is,
Mm-hmm.
then I can see a world where not only making something serious hard to do, but even just landing that date.
Yeah.
Because if you're both in a state of mind where it doesn't matter, then no one's putting out the effort to get to that point where we can even meet one another.
Right.
Right. And so this really didn't, in the article, didn't even break it down where if it's like, what was the difficult part about dating? Was it making dating something serious? Like, was it getting into the second, third, fourth date?
Or just getting a date?
Or was it just getting a date
Yeah.
in general?
It probably just depends.
Yeah. Yeah. I would imagine it would probably be just getting the date to happen. And I say that because getting your feet wet is the hardest part with anything, right?
Okay.
There's that analogy, just dip your toe in and then that's the
It'll
first
get
step.
easier.
And it'll get easier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if the two of you could just get past that barrier of just even meeting in person, because it's a completely different ball game when you see someone in person. It's like I always say, I could get the job if I could get the interview.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest part is getting the interview.
Okay.
Right? So if I could go through the hiring process where they've found my resume, they accept my resume, and now I get to sit in front of someone, I know I got the job if I sit in front of someone.
Yeah, but not everybody feels that way.
No. So I'm just projecting my...
Yeah. I think maybe that's been your experience, so that's why you feel that way. But I would guess that I don't think that that's the case for most people.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. And, well, I do know one individual that has been dating pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, and then now post-pandemic. And
it's like, is this men and women, did you say?
Men and women.
Okay.
Men and women, and it didn't specify whether they were homosexual, heterosexual.
Yeah,
but
these things, I don't know. Like, I need more details for me to make more sense of it. I feel like with these surveys.
I feel like the sexuality doesn't really matter as much.
I kind of do.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
I don't know, because we approach dating differently, men and women. So I wonder who's having a hard time the most. Would it be equal? I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter because we don't know, but that's where my head goes.
Okay, so if I had to spitball, kind of like what you're doing right now, and just kind of guess who would have the harder time finding something that would be more meaningful, I would imagine it would be the homosexual community, probably male.
Okay.
But not because I know from experience. I'm just kind of, and no, I'm not trying to come down on anybody or anything like that. But I only say because when I imagine a homosexual relationship, and I could be completely wrong, as far as when we're talking about two men, I imagine it to be a good time, and it doesn't really, like, a relationship isn't necessary, if that makes sense.
Unless you want that.
Unless you want it.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that there is men. So it's two men with the mindset that I have, where it's like, well, if I could just milk the cow without buying the cow, then I'm just going to milk the cow kind of thing.
Yeah, but don't you get to a point where you don't want to just milk cows anymore? Hence why we're in a relationship.
Yes, but...
So I would think gay men also eventually feel that way.
Yeah.
Everybody, I think, would want like a partner at some point.
I think men in heterosexual relationships tend to slow down at a faster rate because we have women in your energy to pull pump the brakes for us.
Yeah, yeah.
But if we're two people pedal to the metal, it'd be hard to slow that train down.
Okay.
But just to shoot them some bail too, right? I would imagine that those men
Mm-hmm.
that are not seeking relationships, that are just okay with having fun, they're probably not going on these surveys and saying that they're having a hard time dating.
Exactly. These are people who I feel like are looking for a partner.
Right.
That's why they're jaded, because it's just like, I've just been going on these bullshit ass dates for years now, and fuck.
So I take everything
It's
back that I
getting
just
harder.
said.
That was my thought.
Not the part. I don't take back the part where I imagine that gay dudes have way more fun than
Yeah.
any couple group out there that's dating or meeting other people. I would imagine they have the most fun, just because
Yeah.
the two sex drives that are just ready.
I don't think that this is what this is talking about.
I think this is probably talking about.
I was talking about, when I said it, I was talking about straight people and just men and women. That's where I was wondering. And my thought was, I would think it's women having a hard time finding anything of substance.
Yeah.
That's where my head went.
Gotcha.
And they're just tired of it.
Sick of dealing.
Well, because I've heard that from women that I know that are trying to date, especially through dating apps, that it's just fucking trash. And they're just over it. Probably from a handful of women.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wonder what created that imbalance. Well, and what I mean by imbalance, I wonder what created the drastic imbalance of men that are okay with being in the dating scene and just not even remotely worried about or even thinking about locking anyone down.
I think that's been an overtime thing for sure. I don't think it was an overnight thing.
But I wonder.
I mean,
like, okay,
so many factors.
So the debate that I'm trying to create,
Yeah.
and I guess it's going to be what came first, the chicken or the egg kind of thing, is this a symptom of what happens when women accept this, and so they allow serial dating to occur without putting their foot down or being more sexually open than they've ever been before? Because I would imagine now is a time where women are probably giving it up at a higher rate.
We're doing what men
more
do.
than ever before.
Yeah, we're doing what men do. We're even on apps where we get to pursue you. Like,
right.
We're doing all the same shit that men would have typically been doing for the most part. We're looking, we're pursuing, we're putting ourselves out there, we're making the first move. We're telling you what the fuck we want to do. We're fucking on the first night, openly not giving a fuck about it. Women are doing the same shit that men are doing, have been doing.
So my question is now, are you all being punished for that? Is what I'm asking.
And maybe not even intentionally.
Of course
it's just
not.
like this environment now that has been created because of that. It's possible.
Right.
Like no one would have expected this to happen type of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
In the long run.
Back to that whole cow reference, and it's not to call women cows or anything like that. but now you all are handing out that milk more and more. So we're satiated.
Yeah.
And we're okay with serial
and there's so
dating.
many options.
And I'm sure it's probably to the point where men, because of this, they're getting more aggressive on these dating apps with just saying WYD or WYD. Like,
right.
Let's do this. We fucking? No? Okay. All right.
Next.
Right.
Because somebody is.
But I would imagine that attitude comes from getting that.
Yeah. That's why I said next, because it's like they're okay. If not you, the next bitch will.
So if we don't have to court, then we're not going to court, and we're not going to go the extra mile because it just hasn't been necessary.
So that sounds like it's very likely, if not the whole reason why, a big part of it.
Yeah. Well, if that is the case, where this is why this is happening, and this is not to place the blame on women.
No. Because this is a symptom of so many things.
Right. Because, right. And we could go down that rabbit hole of maybe you all had to do that because of this and it's just this thing. It's this thing.
Right.
Just, fingers could just get pointed back and forth.
Right.
So I'm not trying to make women.
No, I know.
The reason why this is happening.
Right.
But it ties into that saying, everything comes with a consequence.
Well, yeah, and like you're saying, if women are the reason, well, men are really the reason. Because if we hadn't been so oppressed for so long, we might not feel the need to have just wild the fuck out when we finally were able to do what the fuck we wanted to do. So there's all
It's
of
just
that.
loop.
I mean, if I'm going to blame anybody, it would probably be men. But
Sure.
there's that.
Sure. Right. And then my counter argument would be, well, men will be men,
Right.
but we actually love this game. So you kind of fell into our trap. And that's why I was saying before, I believe that heterosexual relationships tend to find themselves in a position of becoming more serious.
Yeah.
And we become more monogamous because we have the woman to pump the brakes and kind of slow us down.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you just let us pump and dump, we will do that if you let us.
Clearly, yeah.
We'll do it. Mm-hmm. So again, the fingers can be pointed all over the place.
Right.
The fingers can be pointed all over the place. But here we are, and I don't know.
I don't envy people trying to find a partner right now. Sounds awful.
Yeah.
There's that.
Well, if you are trying to find a partner, you like how I segue that? Yeah. But if you're trying to find a partner.
If this is you.
Another article that I stumbled across, which I thought was, it really wasn't interesting.
Okay.
But I'll still share it. The top 10 cities for dating. So if you're trying to find a date, these are the top 10 cities. This is where we're going to amp this shit up. Okay. So we're not going to stay on this for long at all. But just to kind of, whatever. Entertain me for a second.
Okay.
You all out there.
Okay.
All right?
Sure.
Well, okay. If you had to guess the number one city to find a date, what would it be? Or, where would it be? It's a poppin' city right now.
Major city. Like, I know because I've heard this, but like I wouldn't have guessed that that's what it was.
What is it?
Well, you told me.
When?
Yesterday. You were reading this article.
Were we supposed to let them know that?
No.
Yeah, asshole.
I know. Because I would have been like, oh, fucking LA or Miami or, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Okay.
But when you said it, I was like, oh.
Do you remember what it was?
Yes.
What is it?
Austin.
Okay, yeah, you remembered it.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to keep
Which is why I was like, really?
Yeah.
But then again, I've always heard that Austin's a really cool place. And more and more people are gravitating towards that city. So I guess that kind of makes sense. But I didn't think it would be like number one in the whole fucking country.
Right. So I'm not going to go through the whole 10, but I'm going to go with the top four. So we have Austin, we have Colorado Springs, Colorado at number 2, San Diego, California at number 3, and Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina at number 4. And one thing that I did notice about this, even before reading the article really didn't, it just said the age range, but it didn't really say why. Okay. Other than the fact that there are just more places to socialize,
it's more of a scene,
alcoholic beverages and yada, yada, yada. But it seems like it's just heavy college towns.
Well, Colorado Springs for sure.
Right.
There isn't shit else there except it's just a college town.
Right. So if we're talking about dating, and this doesn't specify long-term dating or serial dating, I would imagine this is a lot of serial dating.
For sure. Because
of the 18 and 24-year-old range.
What else are you doing at that age?
But maybe they are being more serious now. I don't know. And I only say it only because I'm not really following that age group. But I would imagine that age group being this age group of not toxic and yada yada yada. Maybe it's not. But I don't know.
Who knows?
We should look more into that.
Well, okay. It kind of then. Remember the show you were talking about last week, the Ultimatum show. They were kind of in that age group, like early 20s.
And they seemed like that they were taking it serious, where they, if the show's real, then they were in relationships for years, right?
Who cares?
What? About the Ultimatum show?
No. About this age group.
We need to care about the age group.
Okay. Well, I don't. I'm glad you do.
I am going to do my best to do a little bit more research about this age group. Only because I don't want those listeners or anything like that to feel
Yeah.
If we have those listeners.
Okay.
Because
I'll leave that up to you. I can't relate. So I just feel like an old bitch worried about people. I mean, I have a son who's damn near that age. So it's like, what do I care?
So maybe you should start caring.
He's going to have his own experiences. And maybe I'll learn that way. But it's like, I got my own fucking problems. That's how I feel.
Okay. Dating problems?
No, other problems.
Okay. All right. Well, the worst cities for dating.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay, let's be real here. I'm going to say this before I say the top 3. I didn't even know these cities exist. Like, these cities are just not.
Yeah. Like, worst cities,
my radar.
period. Not even just for dating.
Right.
You would just put them in the worst.
So I'm going to give the top 3, but then I'm going to talk about 2 cities that are on the top 10 that surprised me. But the top 3, number 1 is Kansas City, Missouri, right? Wichita, Kansas, and then Minneapolis State or St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yeah. I mean, sounds about right.
Yeah.
just
like I didn't even if I ever thought about dating, I'm
yeah.
And for you poor bastards that live out there, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah. Anyway, in the top 10, which shocked me for dating, maybe not relationship, for dating, was Atlanta. Atlanta was in the top 10 worst cities to date.
And again, for who?
Right. Because in this article actually and again, it's funny that they had those top 3 in there, but then in their dialogue, they completely ignored the top 3 and they focused on Atlanta and Houston. And they said that Atlanta and Houston were in there, or these cities were in the top 10 worst cities for dating because of the limited places to socialize and have alcoholic beverages, and the fact that they're bigger cities, that people are more spread apart and yada, yada, yada. But to me, I don't know. When I think of Atlanta, if I had to say why I think that it would be in the lower tier for dating, but even then, I don't think dating would be the issue. But I do know that it's like the straight woman to straight men ratio is off.
About which way?
Well, there are a lot more straight women than straight men, right?
Okay, yeah.
So from my experience and what I know about Atlanta is, if you're a straight man in Atlanta, you have a ton of options. So being that you have a ton of options, then now you're kind of put up on a pedestal.
Yeah.
So to make something serious with a guy that has a ton of options.
Yeah, that's probably the problem.
Might be harder to do. But that's not the same as dating.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking about dating long term and da. But this article did not specify long term dating versus short term dating. All right. Well, we can get off that.
Where's the fun?
Where's the fun? Here's the fun now.
I was told there would be fun.
Oh, there's gonna be fun. And we're about to upset some people. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I've been waiting.
Okay. Cam Newton.
Okay.
You saw the video.
I did.
I sent you the video.
You did.
All right. So for those of you out there who are listening right now and you have not seen Cam Newton on $1 million worth of game, stop and pull up the video where he quote unquote degraded women. And I'm sure you can understand.
What is that, a podcast? Because you have to talk to people like they don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because I don't know. I didn't know.
$1 million worth of game is a podcast with Gilly the Kill and Wallow.
Yeah, I don't know any of those people.
Yeah, it's a podcast.
Okay.
But if you go on YouTube and you type in Cam Newton, it's gonna pop up because it's the most trending thing about Cam Newton right now. But there is a video out there where Cam Newton is speaking to these gentlemen, and he's basically expressing the type of woman that he wants to settle down with, right? And before he goes into it, he talks about how he was raised by women, and to him, by women, these are women that do not classify themselves as bad bitches, right? And before he went any further, he stated that, hey, there's nothing wrong with being a bad bitch. It's cool, do you. I don't have a problem with it. It's just as far as me taking this serious in a relationship. Like, it almost seems like he kind of warmed that up a little bit, right? Get your money, do you, is just not for me. And then he went further and said, because you're not bringing anything to the table. Like, you can't cook. You don't know how to be quiet, or you don't know when to be quiet.
Right.
And then he said, you don't know how to allow a man to lead.
Right.
And that's where the internet kind of went crazy
right.
about that last bit.
Mm-hmm.
So before I give my take on it, I want to know how you felt about it.
I guess I didn't think it was that outlandish.
Right.
I thought he could have said it better,
Mm-hmm.
but I just think he's just limited in how he can articulate himself. So I feel like the right person explaining it better,
Mm-hmm.
it would have landed better.
Could have been.
Possibly. Or allowed there to be more conversation about what he meant exactly. Because I feel like I got what he meant.
100%.
And I don't really have a problem with it.
I didn't have a problem with it.
If we're being honest. I think it was the way he said it. It didn't sit well. Because anytime, it's just like, women, come on. Anytime you talk about putting a woman in the kitchen, it's just like this fucking uproar. Like, really? It's okay to cook for your man. And I don't think there's any man saying that that's the only place where you belong is in the kitchen. But can we just acknowledge that that's okay? People have to eat. And maybe he could cook sometimes and you can. Like, what is wrong with that?
Right.
First of all. And don't you want a leader? I want my man to be a leader. Or, I mean, what's wrong with that? And yeah, sometimes we need to shut the fuck up. I'm the first to say that about myself. Again, I think it's how he said it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of depth to it.
That we know of. So to be fair, the clip that I showed you was 1 minute and 11 seconds out of a podcast that was maybe an hour, 2 hours.
Too. People just run with
3 hour long podcast, right?
Right. He might have explained himself a little bit better. Okay, from what I guess what I saw, and if that's what people got to see as well, I could understand why there was outrage, but
could have. And we'll get back to that because I do want to touch upon what it looks like when people just take a small soundbite and they run with it. And how the message can be viewed any kind of way. Because I'm kind of in that same boat with the last clip that we released. But I'll get back to that. Remind me to get back to that.
Okay.
But with this particular clip, again, I didn't listen to the full podcast. I don't know if he followed up with anything afterwards. This was last week. But from what I saw, when I heard it, like you said, he didn't say it the best way possible. But I understand.
I got what he was
that
trying
way of
to
speaking.
say.
Right. I understand, not to call him a dumb nigga, but I understand like quick speech. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to say what I say. This is what I mean. Boom. I get it. Yeah. I peeped that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Same.
So when I heard it, I didn't feel like he was being offensive at all. If anything, he tried to cushion it a little bit.
Yeah.
Where he said, I don't mean anything derogatory when I call a woman, when I say a bad bitch.
Did say that.
I'm saying what you all call yourselves. Bad bitches. Ooh, ooh. Like don't. He doesn't want that shit for a woman that he's deciding to settle down with, right? And then he said, yes, because what could you do for me? You can't cook. Right?
And we're talking about a man who, so he was probably, that's what he's looking for. What can a woman bring to the table for him? He doesn't need a bad bitch. He doesn't need a woman with her own. So what are you bringing to his table?
Right.
He already has the table.
Right. And the number one thing that he said, and before I even go here, guess what, ladies? This is one Cam Newton with one woman that he will potentially be with.
Yeah.
Out of over 300 million people in the United States. Most of you people, he's not even checking for you.
Period.
You see what I'm saying?
Correct.
So for everybody else, other than this one person that he locks down on, none of you matter anyway. So the point of even getting mad about a statement like that is like, well, he's not checking for you anyway. So there's that. So you're in luck. And you're probably not going to like some of the shit that I say, and I'm probably not checking for any of you all anyway. But one thing that he said that really hit home to me, and I completely understand, is that he said he was afforded the opportunity, and these aren't his exact words, but he had the opportunity to grow up and be around real classy women, right? Women that did what they were supposed to do. They, not to say did what they're supposed to do in terms of this is what a woman's supposed to do.
No, I get it.
But I'm even just generational. His mama probably wasn't on the internet wilding out.
Right.
Couldn't be, so she wasn't.
Right.
She probably cooked a meal every single night. Right. She probably sat there and had conversations with him, spent time with him, wasn't out doing things. And he said other women around him did the same thing. I can see that.
Yeah.
Right. I grew up in a home where both of my parents worked full time, but my mother made sure that there was a meal cooked every single night.
Yeah.
And if there wasn't a meal cooked every single night, then the nights that she didn't, then she would reward us with pizza or, just something like that. But for the most part, there was a meal cooked every single night, and we all sat down and we had a meal together that she prepared.
Well, your mom still does that.
And she still does that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like she still holds it down.
Yeah.
So the woman that I'm with, you, I can't see anything else but that, right? My mother was a quiet woman in terms of she wasn't out and about always, and her family came first. So the woman that I decide to I want those attributes because that's what I am accustomed to.
Right.
And I don't expect you to be in the kitchen all the time.
Right.
We do an equal amount of cooking.
Right.
I cook.
And you used to do more cooking.
In the beginning,
yeah,
right. I didn't all the cooking.
And you never even complained about it.
No.
You said this is what you like, but you were never like, oh, that's going to be a problem for me because I told you I didn't cook initially. You're like, okay, well, I'm cooking anyway. It's okay.
But when you started cooking again and you started cooking for me, didn't I tell you that it made me feel like a king?
Yeah.
When you packed a lunch for me and I got to go to work and I heated up a lunch that you made because it was, leftovers from a dinner, dinner that you made or something that you just brought to me because whatever it may be.
Right.
Like that feels good.
Right.
And again, it's not something that I expect every night. And if I don't get it, then there's going to be a problem. I'm going to wag my finger at you and be like, bah, 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 bah.
No, that's crazy.
But damn, it feels good to have a meal prepared for you. Just like I'm sure it felt good when I prepared meals for you.
I know, I loved it. I was complaining about it last episode.
Right. These things feel good.
Right.
So he's saying that he doesn't want to deal with a woman that doesn't want to do any of those things, but wants to go ooh and yell and not yell at him, but want to be out there and want to do all these things, but you can't do something like make me feel like a king.
Right. I feel like that's one of the things that do make men feel like taken care of in a capacity that we can take care of you.
Especially a man of his status.
That's what you're right. Like that's how a man of his status or a man period would probably feel appreciated. Like again, it makes me sad.
But he's saying for him, that's what would make him feel good.
Right.
Right. Just something as simple as, and I don't know him, so I'm not going to shoot him any bail. Yeah. He might be on some wild shit where he's saying every night you need to be in the kitchen and boom. Then, if it works for you, it works for you. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I would imagine, well, I'm not even going to imagine how he feels. I don't know how he feels. I'm just going to say from what I heard,
took it.
Right.
Yeah.
The way I took it is like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I appreciate a woman that can cook.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that I expect you to be creative and you to be a chef and da-da-da-da-da. If you just follow directions and then make me a meal that's delicious, yeah, that feels good.
Right.
Damn, babe, I'm hungry. Oh, you want me to whip you up an omelet? Like, yo, that feels good.
Right.
Now I'm eating, I feel, shoo.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then the whole quiet thing,
But he said know when to be quiet.
Know when to be quiet.
Yeah, because nobody likes a combative bitch. Let's be honest.
I get it.
I get it. Yeah.
Sometimes women need to know when the fuck to be quiet.
Right. And I agree with that.
Now, to be honest with you, men too need to know when the fuck to be quiet.
Right. But I think men know how to be quiet more than women know how to be quiet.
Sometimes. Maybe not always.
Yeah.
There might be that dude out there that's got that feminine energy in him, and he's just yap. Needs to get the last word in.
Yeah.
You know,
I
wants
know
to tear you
actually.
down. Boom, boom, boom.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So maybe not.
True.
But yes, the safer, more articulate way, quote unquote, to express what he was saying would have been, and again, he might have done this later on in the podcast or even later on after that minute clip that we saw, right? I don't know. But he could have said, or maybe he did, but he could have said, she knows when to be quiet, but men should know when to be quiet too.
Yeah.
We all need to know when the hell to be quiet.
Yes.
Right? Because we say it all the time. What do you want to do? You want to be right or you want to be happy? Right?
Yeah.
And I could see a situation where, because we've been there, where we've said we said something extra that didn't need to be said.
Right.
And then now
it causes unnecessary issues sometimes.
Right.
Right.
Right. But again, in his defense, he is speaking from a man talking about what he wants in a woman. So he's saying, know when to be quiet.
Right.
Because he's saying what he wants.
Exactly.
So I don't even think it was necessary, whether he did or he didn't later on, I don't think it's necessary for him to say the PC version of, well, we should all know to be quiet. No, he's saying what he wants.
Right.
And just because he's saying women know when they need to be quiet, that doesn't automatically mean that he thinks that men don't need to do the same thing.
Right. We're talking about a woman that he would want.
Right.
Well, he's talking about a woman that he would want.
But we live in this culture where the narrative is one thing has to mean another, and it doesn't have to be that way. So just because he's saying how he feels doesn't mean that the opposite can't be true.
Right.
In this case.
Right.
And then the last part where he was saying, oh, they need to know how to allow a man to lead.
Yeah.
That is important.
It is. And you would think, well, I would think that these women out here having trouble finding a man or someone to be in a relationship with are probably having that problem. Finding a man that they could trust to be the leader. But going back to a few episodes ago, sometimes we don't know how to even allow a man to do that.
Right.
And a lot of times that's on the woman. Not all the time.
Not all the time.
But I'm just saying, like, if we're talking about, if you want a man with big dick energy, you can't come into the relationship with big dick energy. There's not enough room for that much dick in a relationship.
Right.
So which one do you want?
Right.
You know?
So again, back to what he was saying.
Yeah.
If you're going to be that, I'm a bad bitch.
Right.
You can't tell me shit. Right. Boom, boom, boom. If you're going to be that way, chances are you're not going to allow him to lead because you're coming in with this big dick energy.
Exactly.
And he doesn't have time
for it. There's no room for that.
Now, you're fun to fuck around with.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's fun to do whatever we need to do. However, in order to make this last long term,
right,
for him, he's saying this is not going to work. And again, the pushback I saw was, well, not all men know how to lead. Yeah, but he's talking about himself.
Right. Right.
I could see if his statement was, women need to do this for all men. That would be crazy. Right. That would be reckless. He's speaking about himself. I don't know him personally. I've never been in a relationship with him, whatever. I shouldn't even have to say that, but I'm going to say that just to kind of play this safe. I would imagine that by him making that statement, he is a leader.
Right. And he knows where we're going.
Right. He's been down that masculine journey. He understands himself. He's very self-aware. Boom, boom, boom. And now he's looking for a woman that understands her feminine energy, and that's going to be a good match for him. And it's going to fit just like that. Right. So that's what he's saying by that. Because yes, to piggyback off of what you're saying, or what you said previously, not all, I always say this, not all males are men. Right. Right. So not all males know how to lead anything.
Yes, absolutely.
Anything. Yes. Let alone a woman. Yeah. And if you follow that person's lead, you might follow them to the edge of that.
That's an epidemic too.
You see what I'm saying?
I mean, if we're being honest, there's a lot of that.
That's a problem. That's a problem. But if you're dealing with a real one, that's going to
Correct.
lead you, you need to learn how to be a dope ass follower.
Right.
And not follower in a bad way.
Right.
But follower in, hey, he's the alpha. I'm gonna assume that beta role, but I got this is my I got him.
Right.
Because he needs that.
Exactly.
He needs
Right.
that.
And so do you.
Right.
As a woman.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is what we've talked about in the past few episodes.
Right.
It's landing on that balance between the masculine energy
right.
that's managed properly, the feminine energy that's managed properly, and how that works. And how that, you know.
Right. And how it's a beautiful thing.
When it all works
so
together.
much shit that, I don't know, right now about all that. Because I continued watching that clip for like another minute or so. And then they had like, I'm guessing she was maybe a blogger responding to it. And just it was so much ignorance. Because she was offended by it, obviously. And she's like, it's 2022 and you cook for yourself. And I don't need a lead. I don't need a man to lead. Like, I'm out here doing the, like, what? Doing the leading. But then she said, oh, and one day I'm going to make a great wife. I don't know. And one day, meaning you're not even in a relationship with all that fucking big dick energy.
Here's the thing. And you and I have said, or you said it on a previous episode, you could still be big dick energy, boss, all the things
and that's
out
where we
in the
get
streets.
It fucked up. Right.
But in the home, if you want to be in a relationship where that works, then you have to play your position.
Right.
Now, it's quite possible, because you and I have talked about, it's quite possible that her position or a woman's position could be the quote unquote masculine energy.
Right.
But she would need a feminine.
100%.
You're not going to have two masculines trying to do this.
No, but most women don't want that.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but the sad reality is we've created this culture, and by we, I mean the Black community has created this culture of the bad bitch, I got my own, rah, rah, rah type of mentality.
Out of necessity, too, respectfully.
100%.
Right.
100%. 100%. Black women have been put in that position. They have had
no choice.
No choice.
Right.
No choice. But it's heightened and it's elevated by the hip hop community, right? Where we see, Cardi B's and out there spewing this, you need to be this, you need to be that. The Meg Thee Stallions, But the one thing that people are missing is that I'm willing to guess that the Cardi B's and the Meg Thee Stallions of the world, what they're doing with their music, their art, isn't a direct reflection of how they are at home.
If they have a man at home, yes.
Well, they do. Well, and those women are in steady relationships, right? Offset. And from what I see him, he seems like he
doesn't exude a lot of feminine energy.
He's a boss nigga, right? At least I would imagine. If I had to guess, he's a boss nigga, right? And same with Partisan Fontaine, which is he's a boss nigga.
Right.
So I would imagine in their homes,
they know their role.
And again, not to say that they're catering to their men and
Maybe they are.
But maybe they are, and I'm sure the men are doing what they need to do to keep
make
that
her
woman.
Want to do
exactly.
That. Correct.
It's a catering thing back and forth. I cater to you, you cater to me. This is what we do. We feed that energy that the other person is putting off.
Right.
But their art is stating otherwise. Get yours, do that, That's entertainment. Same with the best one. All the single ladies, right? That song still.
Yeah.
But she's married. Right. She was married when the song came out. To a boss.
Right.
She came out with Lemonade. And women felt, oh my God, Lemonade. This is it stayed with them.
Right.
The art doesn't always reflect reality. The problem is that people that clearly should not be doing that, right? And by should not be doing that, I'm saying they didn't even have a ground to stand on to do that, because most people don't have their own and Like, just this is how it is, right? Most people are not going to be in a position of a Beyonce, Cardi B, and the other pop
like a true boss bitch.
Right. Most of them are not going to have that status, but they carry themselves around as they are that way, and then they find themselves in positions where they can't find a man because they don't know how to cut it off, because they haven't understood that Cardi B doesn't go home that way.
Right.
I would imagine.
Right.
Doesn't go home that way.
Right.
She's a mother
Right.
and a wife.
Right. It's different roles in different places.
Right. Same with him, Offset.
Right.
You listen to his music, you would think he's,
Right.
I'm the man, I'm the shit,
Yeah.
I'm popping, da 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 da.
But he's a husband
He's
and
a
a father.
fucking husband and a father.
Right. Yeah.
So
Right.
there's that. People can't split it. But because I didn't forget. So the number one issue is that people take these small clips
Mhm.
and they want to dissect them. So the last clip that we put out was the manage your expectations
Yes.
clip.
Uh-huh.
And in that clip, it could be my fault the way I clipped it.
Okay.
So there wasn't a whole lot of detail there. And it made sense to me because I understood what the entire
you had heard the whole
conversation
thing. Yeah.
looked like.
Yeah.
So as I made the clip, I thought it seemed pretty clear that it was more on, not an attack on women, but it was more of pointing the finger at women, which you were doing
Mm-hmm.
by saying, hey, your expectations are too high. You need to understand that you're dealing with a man that is not your girl. He doesn't
Right.
think the way you think.
Well, because that was the conversation that was
That was a
being had.
conversation.
Yeah.
Right. But I guess one or two people came to me
Mm-hmm.
and they were basically saying that it looked like in that clip
Mm-hmm.
that I was kind of showing that men need the guidance and they're dumb
Okay.
and that we need lists and all these other things. And it's
Okay.
like, wait a minute. I didn't get that from that clip.
Yeah, but I guess if you didn't hear the whole conversation, I guess maybe you
But I
could
felt like
take-
even if you listened to the clip, you wouldn't have gotten that.
Yeah, because we were talking about something very specific.
Right.
What do I know?
Right. And the list thing had to do with a list of things that you want to get done because you're expecting your man to be a mind reader, which is what you said.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, I don't mind lists. But I guess when it looked like that, I don't know.
Okay.
So someone came at me and was like, what you say, leader thing, and then you're expecting to be led, and it's like, wait a minute, no.
Mm-mm.
That's not what was being stated.
We're talking about
at all
expectations.
in that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is a completely different thing.
Right. And again, maybe that had to do with the way that I clipped it,
Mm-hmm.
and because I was viewing it from the lens of understanding what it was, then I
Yeah.
expected it to just make sense to everybody else. But I guess it didn't.
Expectations.
I need to manage my expectations. Right? And also, too, if you haven't listened to any of the previous episodes and you don't know my stance on things, then you might see that as, oh, he's just thinking that men should just
I
be.
don't know, because that wasn't the context of that conversation at all.
Exactly. I don't even think it was
So
that way.
No.
But just to clear the air, for anyone out there, that if this is your first time listening,
Uh-huh.
this is not a happy wife, happy life podcast
No.
at all.
No.
At all. And I would encourage you to take the time to
Yeah.
go back and listen to some of the previous episodes, and you could kind of get a better understanding of how we view a relationship should be. Because even our relationship isn't built on me making sure you're happy in order for my life to be happy,
No.
or vice versa,
No.
right? We encourage people to manage your expectations,
Right.
figure your shit out, make sure that you're happy from within in order to better make your partner happy, all while understanding the energy that you harness and the energy you want to express, and how to cater and better, I guess, bond with.
Yeah, how that energy is then
The
going
energy.
to connect with the other person, and then how
Right.
it's this balance and how it all is interconnected. Like,
Right.
yeah.
So in our relationship,
Mm-hmm.
it's my responsibility to understand the masculine energy. It's my responsibility to make sure that I'm happy. It's my responsibility to do all these things in order to better lead and be
Provide
the
the
best.
things that I'm needing.
Right. For
Yeah.
your feminine energy
Right.
that you are responsible for,
Correct.
and the things that you.
all on my own.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So in that clip,
Uh-huh.
it was referring to you specifically, telling women, hey, you need to understand that your man is not a woman.
Correct.
And
He doesn't operate like you. He doesn't think like you.
right. So the
Right.
guidance was the guidance of, if there are things that you expect him to do for you
Correct.
to fill
You need to
your cup,
communicate that.
you need to communicate that to him because he's not thinking
Like
the
you.
way you think.
Correct.
And
men need that. Like, you need to be direct. We can pick up on the vibes and the feelings and maybe the undertones
Mhm.
and all that, because that's how we manage energy and we communicate. Men are, how you say it is what the fuck you meant.
right.
All that deciphering shit that we do,
Nah.
that's not what men do. And that's what I was saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But I think at some point, I'll tell you why I'm laughing here in a second. At some point, people took that clip and they thought that I was kind of pandering and yada, yada, yada to women. And
I just feel like then you must have not been listening.
well, and then it all goes to, hey, and I actually did it.
Uh-huh.
I put out this 1 minute clip of over an hour's worth of conversation, and someone took it one way, and then they asked me questions about it.
Yeah.
But
a man or a woman?
A man.
Okay.
A man,
Okay.
not a woman.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
Yeah. But I was laughing because someone pointed out that I say right a lot. Right. And
I feel like I say that.
Well, they said that we both did it. So he was saying that one day he was going to sit down and count how many times we said right in an episode.
I would love
so
that.
Now it's triggering. So every time that I say right, I feel like he's like, right.
There's a check.
I know.
I love that.
I know.
I would like an update on that.
But it's a processing thing. So me
For
saying right is not only me verbally acknowledging to you
that you get it,
that I'm receiving what you're saying, but I'm also processing it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out how
silence.
I feel about it.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to give it back to you
Yeah.
if I'm ready. If I'm not ready, then there'll be a gap. And there are times that we have gaps because we're trying to think things through before we say what we say. But I edit those gaps out. So a lot of times people just don't get the dead mic. But
yeah.
Yeah.
So we do that so much that when I don't say anything, when you ask me something or you make a point and I don't say anything, you're like, hello.
Yeah.
Are you listening?
You put like a loading sound. Yeah. That's what it is. All right. You ready for one more article? All right. Monogamy. So we're not going to touch into monogamy as far as our thoughts and
I'm like, wow, just into one monogamy. Word.
No, we are almost an hour in.
Okay.
No. So this article, we're just going to spitball real quick. Okay. This article was talking about millennials and how they are more open to the idea of having a non-monogamous relationship than any other generation out there.
Okay.
And right now it looks like this kind of split. Like 43% are saying monogamy, 43% are saying non-monogamous relationship, and then whatever's left over is they're just kind of split.
Right.
I would imagine. But what are your thoughts on that?
What about it? Like, why is it the millennials, or what? Why do we feel that way? What about it?
Okay, all right. Well, I'll take the wheel on this.
Okay.
So when I read this article, the first question that I had, or the first thing I was thinking about is who is pushing for the non-monogamous relationship and why.
Okay.
The people who want a monogamous relationship, completely normal. Not to say a non-monogamous relationship is not normal, but I would say if we had to choose which one is more normal. More common.
Yeah.
If I'm with you, I want you to be mine and only mine.
Yeah.
And I think that is...
whether that's realistic or not.
But I think that is perfectly normal.
Yes.
I don't want to share you with the world or anyone else. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I would imagine that the people that are more agreeable to get into a monogamous relationship would be women, only because they want to keep the control in the relationship, as far as if I'm opening up the relationship.
No, you just said the more would be, hold on. You said more willing to be in a monogamous relationship.
Okay, I'm sorry. More willing to be in a non-monogamous relationship.
Okay. That's what I thought you meant to say. Okay.
non-monogamous relationship
Uh-huh.
would be women
Uh-huh.
because it keeps the control or it keeps the power in their hands. Because if dudes are going to be out there cheating on you anyway, or if there's the idea that your man might cheat on you anyway,
Now you have some sort of control.
now you have some sort of control because
Right.
now you can say you can't cheat on me or you're not going to, less
If we're
likely
in an
to
open-
quote unquote
yeah.
cheat on me if we're open and we're honest about this thing.
Right.
Because one statistic that they did have in this article was that 1 in 8 people
Mm-hmm.
openly admitted that they had an encounter sexually with someone else that's outside of the relationship without the consent of their partner.
That sounds low.
Right. And that's why I said admitted.
Yeah.
And it's so funny how they broke down cheating. Like I said, it's saying 1 in 8 people admitted to cheating. It said 1 in 8 people admitted to having a sexual encounter that was not okayed by the
Hello.
right. It's cheating.
Let's just call it what it is.
Let's top it out. But and sure enough, the percentage of people that admitted it was a little bit higher for men than it was for women. So women were admitting it too, but the rate, and it wasn't by much. It was like maybe like 5 or 10%.
Okay.
That it was the men that were doing it. So, but I say all that to say, cheating is seriously or is a thing that's probably happening more often than it ever did before, just because of the availability of people, right? So because of that, I would imagine that millennials have taken upon themselves to go, okay, well, fine, let's just open this up if this is what's going to happen anyway. Because, and this is a deeper thing that, and I think that maybe we're more okay with,
Whoever's tallying the right, we need to start tallying
the water
the
drop
water
noises.
Yeah.
Why is it happening?
I don't know. It's a fucking mystery. Because like it doesn't ever happen.
Oh my gosh.
It's something about your mouth with the mic, clearly. It's
Okay.
the lips.
So I was saying, okay, this is what I was saying. And we could save this discussion for another day, just for time purposes. But I'm willing to guess that more and more people are okay with the idea of having a non-monogamous relationship because cheating is a product of cheating being so high.
Yes.
As opposed to that's what you really want. Like you're not really okay with the idea of your partner being with someone else. But you're just being okay with it because I just don't want you to just end up hurting me anyway. So, and I can
maybe we're just more realistic about how monogamy is really not realistic. Speaking about expectations. Like, isn't it a lot to ask of one person? If we really think about it, I know it's because we've been doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we look at how much infidelity there is, how many broken homes and because of cheating, does it really work? Is that really a realistic expectation to have of another individual to say you can only be with one person for the rest of your life? Imagine if you started off in your early 20s. Jesus. And it sounds really unfair and selfish.
So we're going to touch on this on another day.
Okay.
For the next episode, which, should be magical.
Yes,
right?
For sure.
But my quick answer would be, I do not think that is an unrealistic thing to ask for someone.
Unrealistic?
I do not think it's unrealistic. I think
to ask of everybody?
To ask of your partner. And just to clarify, for the rest of your life, no. But if the rest of your life is with me, then yes. I think that is okay to ask someone, hey.
Okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with asking.
To expect it. Yes.
But it's to be realistic?
Yes. I think that...
For you to not have... But that's the problem. It's like you have this expectation, right?
That my partner that is with me...
Yes, I know. But then there's no room for communication as far as like, let's say 30 years later, you're just interested in another fucking individual because goddamn we're human.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then because there's this expectation, which is unrealistic if you ask me, then there doesn't leave a lot of room for there to be conversation about exploring that. And maybe it doesn't need to lead to cheating, but the fact that people can't even have a conversation because it's this unrealistic expectation from the beginning, I think that alone sets the tone for disaster.
Now, I didn't say anything about not being able to have a conversation.
Okay. Well, my head just was talking about the expectation of it all and how sometimes when we start off with this expectation, it's up and that's it. This is how it's supposed to be. And I would think that that's what leads a lot of people to just be closed off to even having conversations about it. Not to say that you have to end up opening the relationship or whatever. And again, this is coming from a person who I can be monogamous.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just speaking to the idea of it and how I think that it's unrealistic. Not that I can't do it. I can be with you the rest of my life. I'm a monogamous individual. But clearly, most people aren't. If we look at how often cheating happens.
Yeah.
To one degree or another. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like full-blown affairs or someone just being reckless and fucking random people all the time or, emotional affairs. There's so many things. But it's just like, that's a lot to ask of people. You don't think? Well, clearly you don't think. Okay.
We'll talk about it later.
But you started the conversation.
No. I just wanted to talk about the article, not go deep into how we really feel about the idea of monogamy. Because we're going to say that for a whole another episode.
Right.
I just want to just spitball the thought about this and what this looks like. And this article did not break it down, what type of relationships that they were, who they were.
I was going to say something too about the millennial thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might have to do with we come just from a whole bunch of broken homes and we're already jaded.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might have something to do with why we're most accepting of that or the idea of it.
Right.
Too. Because when you asked the question, I said, well, what do you mean? Why do I think that way? Or whatever I said, I can't remember. But now that I think about it, that's probably why we're that way.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. Why are you shaking your head?
Because you have a smile on your face. I know it's going to be something crazy.
So when you were talking about cheating, I'm curious to know.
Mm-hmm.
I know you can't speak for all women, so I just want you to speak for yourself. Mm-hmm. When you imagine your man could be cheating on you, like if you envision that in your head, I don't know how animated you get in your head, so I'm asking you right now.
Okay.
What does that look like for you? Because for me, if I imagine you cheating.
Me?
If I imagine you cheating.
Me, okay.
Right? I'm automatically assuming it's some handsome, tall black dude, right? with a piece. I'm talking like
like me personally,
listen,
or all women?
Listen.
Like that's what I'm looking for?
No, just all women. But for you, yeah. For you right now, yes, it would be you, right? He's got a piece, right? And he's got one of those that's big enough to make you feel uncomfortable in the beginning, but then you start to like a little bit later on, and then anything else that you get after that is kind of like unseasoned baked chicken, to where it's just not.
Okay, is that a man thing?
And he's not kissing you. He's not making you feel.
Which is so gross.
It's always just you know what I'm saying?
And
like a good
disgusting.
Time, like something to make you go, damn, and then you smoke you're not even a smoker. You smoke a cigarette afterwards. Like that's what I imagine.
We've had that type of sex where I tell you, I feel like I need a cigarette.
Yeah. But that's how I imagine. It's never like this nice guy that,
Which is so fucking crazy.
Right.
That you would think that.
So, okay. So the fact that you think that's crazy, what does it look like for you? If you imagine me having, something with another woman.
I don't even want to go there in my head.
It's just going to piss you off.
I'm going to get mad at you.
But is it more sensual or is it like?
I would just be straight sexual.
Okay.
Because I know you. You're not looking to connect.
Okay. So then let me ask you this. Is it something like you imagine she is dope at what she's doing and she's on top doing her thing? Or is it me giving it up to her? Like giving it to her? Because like I said,
I would think that she would be
like she's fly.
like a bad bitch in bed. A
Okay,
bad
okay.
bitch, period, and just a bad bitch in bed.
Yeah, okay. Like she's
That's
just a
what I would
fly
think.
ass shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of the same lines.
But more realistic for you than for me.
What do you mean?
Because you're a man.
Wait, I don't understand.
Like, when women, okay, like most women, if they do end up cheating, it's an emotional thing first.
Okay.
So that's why I'm like, this whole giant dick getting dick down thing is like, what? It's like, is that what women think that women are really looking for?
I can't
It
speak for
tends
other
to be
men.
more of an emotional connection more than an instant sexual experience. I would say for most women. Not that it can't be just sex, but like I would think women who cheat,
Mm-hmm.
and we're talking about, let's say, in a marriage with a
Mhm.
family, and where it's just like it's scandalous,
Mm-hmm.
it's more of an emotional affair first.
Yeah.
Then he's tall, black dude with a giant dick. What is
Yeah.
this? Pornhub? What is happening
Yeah.
right now?
Good piece.
And what is this obsession with giant dicks? Because, anyway,
Mm.
so dumb. Women don't need giant dicks.
Okay, maybe not, but but yes, men typically think that numbers. It's the numbers, and maybe it's just how porn has
It's possible.
altered our perception of what.
And then I guess there might be something there about how you feel about your sex life with that person. Because it's like, you dick me the fuck down. Like, why would I need that anywhere else?
Now, okay, just to make it clear, I don't think about you doing that.
Okay.
But if I
right.
did have thoughts
Got
about,
That's why I would have thought that you would have been like, oh, it would be an emotional thing for me because you know that I appreciate connection.
yeah, no,
You know?
no, it's
Well, then that goes back to that you're a man, and that's how you would do it.
Right. And that's why I wanted to know if women thought the same thing,
No.
and maybe, yeah. Now, back to the dick thing.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you something else. And now, wait. Don't give me that look. Don't give me that look. Now, this is not going to determine how good our relationship is. I want to preface this with, or I'm going to preface that with this, right? But okay, with confidence, do you think you could pick my piece out in a lineup?
Yes, babe.
If there were
with confidence
10 pieces in front of you,
10 dicks.
Yes. You think you could pick mine out in a lineup?
I do. With confidence.
Is it because it'll be too easy to pick? You just find the smallest one that looks like Alf.
Talk shit about your dick.
Looks like Alf from the 90s.
Full of shit.
From the 90s.
Why? What? Why do you do that?
Do you know who Alf is?
Yes, babe. I know who Alf is. Whatever. You have the most perfect dick, and you're always talking shit about it.
Listen, that should be the next Netflix game show. If Netflix wants to amp up what they're doing with this
that would be
whole
hilarious
ultimatum, risky, because that's
how well do you know your partner for real?
Because you know what, the ultimatum show is, if that's a real show, that's a risky thing to do.
It is
to get on the show, speed date, live with another person
and risk
for
your
3
whole
weeks.
relationship,
Right?
Potentially.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's up the ante. Let's play a little game of who's in my mouth. Right?
Oh my God!
And
Nathan.
you get six couples, right? We'll stick with the number, right? You get 6 couples, and then the first round is, can you pick out his piece, right? So then you have.
Are you just putting a dick through a hole, or can we see the whole package? I need to see balls and.
You want balls hanging out?
That could change things if you just start sticking dicks through holes, and it's just that could get dangerous.
So you
I need to see the whole thing.
You feel like you could identify me better with my balls than my
than the whole thing. Yeah.
Nah. So then
now you're just
we're just gonna do just the meat. Just the meat is going through the hole, right? That would look crazy.
No.
Meat and nuts hanging through the hole. Right? And so then you have these dudes behind this wall, and they don't know what woman is up, right?
Yeah.
Just to make it fair. They have no clue it's their woman,
fair.
because that would make it really sketchy if they were like, Cristina, you're up next. And then he looks over to his left and some other dudes get sucked. Then because in this game, we're going all in.
Yeah, you didn't
Not only do you have to pick out the meat, but now if you're confident that is your man's meat, to completion. Go at it to completion.
Oh my God. This is not for Netflix.
This is for Netflix.
No, it's not, babe.
This is for late night Netflix. Netflix, step your game up.
Oh my God.
Step your game up. Because if
Nathan.
and then they flip it. They flip it with women, right? So now he has to pick her out in a lineup.
Okay, we're done with it.
Oh, now you're done.
This is just really inappropriate.
If Netflix steals this idea, I'm coming after you.
Oh my God.
You want to go on that show?
No, babe. It sounds awful.
And then at the very end,
what happens
when it's all said and done, then now everyone gets to play back the video and see who right. And see if your relationship. Yo, I wonder how many people would like see their man's meat, but see something else that looks
and pretend that it's his, even though you know it's
like
not.
a hall pass. Like I know his is number 3, but
we're gonna walk past
number 6 is looking real nice. You know what I'm saying?
Oh God.
The best part would be if it's like just one white dude and the woman like intentionally didn't go after like it was one white dude and like the rest of them were just dark meats.
But her man was white.
Yeah, she knew that was like it just.
Oh my God.
It's like, yo, babe, but you.
Yeah, how could you have missed this? That's really bad.
Then they get the ultimatum. Yeah. Let's up in it. Yeah.
There's an idea.
I think it's time to get out of here.
I think so too.
All right, people. If you made it this far, I appreciate you for listening. This is.
Oh my God. You're gonna have to find a way to like make a sound when you say all of those vulgar things that you were saying.
What? The meat?
All of it.
What was I saying that was vulgar?
The whole show was vulgar. It's a show idea.
Oh, the game show?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. How about this? I'll put the monkey sound in it.
Yeah, you're going to have to put a sound.
Right? There it is.
Something. Mm-hmm.
For those of you who want to know what the monkey sound was covering up, it was dick.
There you go. There you have it.
All right. This has been yet another episode of the Feelings First, Facts Later podcast, the podcast where we saying shit, but we ain't saying shit. I go by the name Nathan Mitchell, and as always, I did this with the lovely Cristina.
Bye.
Peace.